Welcome to Name Check with Michael Riedel. I am, as you may have guessed, Michael Riedel of the New York Post, and I'm very delighted to be joined tonight by Rob Corddry, who, like me, is an aficionado, a fan of, I would say, the greatest television series of all time, Saint Elsewhere. About a hospital, a soap opera about a hospital, and Rob has created his own web show based on Saint Elsewhere.
Yeah, well, I created the show for the web, Children's Hospital, and then it's had a life now. We're on season 4 on Adult Swim. On the real TV.
Yeah.
On the actual TV box.
But the inspiration was Saint Elsewhere.
The inspiration, Saint Elsewhere, it was a very special show to me. It was event television in my life, like no other show had been, and that it started my love for medical dramas that ended at Saint Elsewhere.
Why is, for Children's Hospital, why is a hospital a good setting to set a play in?
Well, it's like there's a hospital, of course, there's just built-in drama.
Yeah.
There's always tragedy and or comedy happening at all times.
Right. There's life and death.
It's
cheek
the perfect,
by jowl.
The perfect place. It's like I always say, like a sports movie is usually a pretty sure thing because there's built-in drama.
Yeah.
It's the cheap version. It's the good version of like putting a dog in your show because people like dogs. So yeah, there's built-in story engines in a medical show. Legal shows as well. Same sort of feel.
Right. So there's always conflict. There's always tension. There's life and death decisions being made right there.
And there's human beings making them. They're just humans.
But this is the success of Saint Elsewhere because they made those characters so real that we knew them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what you're trying to do with Children's Hospital.
Well, funny you should ask that is because the first couple of it's an absurd show.
Yeah.
And the first couple of seasons, I had no interest in story or character development whatsoever. And then as I learned to write, I learned that I don't care what kind of comedy you're doing, there's no joke generator like story and character. And so the characters have been much more defined and it's become a sort of character show.
You're a comedian. Where does this love of comedy come from? What was the first comic that you saw on television, anywhere, that sort of you thought, I could do this?
I think everybody in Boston fancies themselves a comedian.
Why?
It's kind of like New York in a way. Like it's very blue collar. It's a joke-based society. Like everybody's
like Cheers.
It's exactly like Cheers. Like people just love, they love joking around with their friends. Usually some sort of alcohol is involved.
Of course,
it's cold there, and there's a lot of Irish people. I'm Irish. The Irish, they get after me. They get after me. So I think that was sort of like, in my family, we were very sarcastic. It's a very sarcastic, driven culture there. And
were you a working class kid?
Yeah. Essentially, my dad worked at the airport for 25 years, taking samples of a runway and finding out how much they were polluting. Finding out how much Logan Airport was polluting Boston. That was his job. Then halfway through my childhood, he started wearing a tie to work. Yeah. And Christmas got a little bit better, but no, we never, it was pretty normal middle class upbringing.
But funny, that Irishness, that funny, cut everyone down, make fun of yourself and everyone else.
It really is that. It's very kind of mean, the comedy, and so I think I started off, it was comedy at others' expense,
right? Which
I'm not so into now. Maybe I've just gotten older and more, I hate to use the S word, but sincere.
No, my flesh is crawling.
Oh, can we cut that out?
Sincere.
Can we cut that out?
No, you should cut everybody down. But here's the thing, if you cut everyone down, you have to cut yourself down first.
Of course.
If you can make fun of yourself, you can make fun of everyone else.
Well, that's just comedy math.
Rob, brace yourself.
Okay.
We are now going to get the hottest gossip from Page 6.
Oh my gosh, I hope I'm in it! What have I done this time?
Hi, I'm Mara Siegler with Page 6, here to bring you all the latest dish. To start things off, Rufus Wainwright, the singer-songwriter, is going to be tying the knot this Thursday with his longtime boyfriend, theater producer Jorn Westbright. They are going to kick things off with a ceremony at the Wainwright Estate in Montauk. Then they're going to be heading over to the Clam Bar, which is a sort of small roadside joint, and that's before heading over to the Shagwong restaurant, where they will actually get a performance by Rufus, according to our sources. There's also going to be other live performances. On the guest list of 250 is Yoko Ono, and also Carrie Fisher, who played Princess Leia in the Star Wars trilogy, is going to be taking part in the ceremonies. In Saturn news, Top Gun director Tony Scott actually leapt to his death on Sunday off a bridge in LA. Apparently, there were no money troubles, no financial troubles, anything like that. Sources tell us that he actually was suffering from incurable cancer and didn't want to put friends and family through the ordeal. To get the latest news, make sure to check out Page 6.
You're an Irish kid growing up in Boston. You have this cutting humor. So when do you decide that I can sort of make something of this? I can be a comedian myself.
You know, I kind of I fell into comedy. I was here in New York doing really bad theater, way off Broadway. I fancied myself a Shakespearean actor.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I making $300 a week doing Coriolanus down at Theater Row.
But actually, I can see it. There's a little Iago in you.
I might have an Iago in me.
A little Iago.
That's one that I think is still old enough that I can play. My Hamlet days are over.
But you're Iago.
I played Paris in Romeo and Juliet about
Iago,
6 times.
short, bald,
exactly.
grasping, evil. I can see.
Don't know why he's so angry, but he is.
Because
that's me. And then I was at a stage where I was auditioning for everything because I wanted to get better at auditioning. So I just take backstage, go to everything, and I happen to book a sketch group here in New York that played at Gotham Comedy Club, and then I realized, oh wow, I always play the jackass in Shakespeare plays anyway. Why don't I just play the jackass in things that I write?
Yeah, you're Bottom in Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yeah, never did Midsummer, man. Come on, I never did Midsummer.
I was the top in Midsummer Night's Dream, but you were the bottom. So.
Good for you. You're all man. Yeah, I couldn't do it. But
so you said I could do this comedy stuff.
Yeah, and then I just sort of said, oh wait, this is what I want, and then I started my own sketch group because I just wanted to do more of what I wanted to do with friends who were more like-minded and not people I met through backstage, you know?
Right. All right, so I want to ask you very quickly, the 3 greatest comedians
of all time.
3. Give me 1, 2, and 3, and why?
Bitch. I would say Steve Martin.
Why?
Because he is the most intelligent / silliest comic I've ever seen. His stand-up is so silly, but you know there's such a light,
an intellectual
behind his
underpinning
eyes.
To it.
Yeah.
All right, number 2.
Bill Cosby.
Why?
Because he is one of probably our greatest storytellers of all time.
So he spins the tale out in the joke. It becomes It becomes a short story.
Exactly. And just a good, funny writer, and just so American. And every stage he went through in life, he could perfectly crystallize. As he was getting older, he would just talk about his brother Rudy and his family growing up. And then when he had kids, he talked about. And I saw Bill Cosby himself on HBO. I grew up on. I watched it every day.
Yeah.
And then I would probably say...
And number 3 is?
What?
Number 3?
Louis C.K.
Why Louis C.K.?
Because Louis C.K. is, I think, doing something now that no one has ever done and is given the opportunity to do so, which I believe he's even created his own genre of television in his show, Louis. And I think he has started out as a very silly, absurd-based comedian. And then I think he got older and wiser, and now he's one of those guys that doesn't. Everything he does is driven by passion and understanding.
Another wacky edition of Name Check with Rob Corddry. A man who loves St. Elsewhere is a man that I love.
Children's Hospital's on TV, not the web.
Always a plug.
Adult Swim.
Always a plug. If you can get Ed